Welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stuart Booth.
I'm Jack Luffman.
You know, we didn't talk about who starts. I've just gone straight in.
It's just gone to back to normal, yeah.
Yeah, well, according to the viewers, they preferred the old way.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. I did as well. When I was putting it out, I was like, that's ridiculous.
Oh, well.
It just doesn't sit right.
Did not feel...
No, it didn't feel right. It's like when if I accidentally put my right pad on before my left pad. It didn't go anywhere.
Superstitions for the weak-minded.
Ooh,
right,
harsh.
Today's show, we're going to be talking about the big Jurgen Klopp signing a new contract.
Interesting, that. I've got a few things for that.
Happy with that. We're going to cover fantasy football. We are coming towards the end of the month, so next week should be the monthly prize. Also, the cup is still roaming on. How you getting on the cup, Jack?
Yeah, I'll probably lasted about as long as Spurs did, I think.
Yeah, not doing so good. We didn't cover boxing, but we will talk a little bit about the boxing this week, even though we did promise.
Yeah. It's interesting, that. And it sparked a few interesting things moving forward, I think, potentially.
Well, we'll
depends
see.
what you believe, I guess.
Yeah. And we will also cover an announcement from ECB.
Yep.
But let's start with Sporting Week.
You start.
No, I'm going to start with you first because two major things happened this week. The semi-final of the Cup.
Yep.
So talk us through that first. At what point did you get knocked out?
We didn't. We got through to the semi-final, my friend. We got through to the semi-final. And in a very, very entertaining game. So we were playing... Who were we playing again? United Cricket or something. Unsurprisingly, I think probably one or two ringers. Unsurprisingly, get a bit fiery against us.
I was going to say, when you say bringing in ringers, you don't need to have some type of announcement beforehand of your squad and then show anything beforehand.
Well, yeah. So this competition, and dare say I was the same. This competition, they just said that prior to the semi-final that you couldn't play a new player.
Right, okay.
In the semi-final finals, they'll have to have played at least one group game, which I think is fair enough. Particularly night game with us, that's really handy because other commitments than that, we played probably in the 3 group games. We probably could have played 30 different players. Almost, we didn't, but so that was it. But the thing is, we got Ben, our wicket keeper, who we'll talk about him later in the night.
He was entertaining.
He's an absolute badger. He knows every single cricketer in Dubai, the UAE.
I find it bizarre because I heard the word badger come up quite a lot. Yeah. Is that some type of weird cricket terminology? Is that like a Lincoln weird thing?
No, it's not Lincoln weird. It's a cricketer's a real badger. Somebody's like really into everything, like whether it be gear, stats, cricket as a whole. So just a badger. I don't know where it comes from, but cricket badger. So straight away, this lad comes out to bat, and you always spot it because, if your starts playing that very resplendent away kit you've just told me.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden I'm playing you, and all of you got that kit, somebody comes with the black Ralph Lauren t-shirts to play, you're like, interesting. Or alternatively, a yellow one.
Yeah. So
the opening bat comes out with not the same shirt as everybody else. So anyway, they managed to get 219 off the 20 overs. Good score. As I said before, JMR, small ground straight. Good size square, but straight is quite small. But obviously same for both sides. So we dragged it back. There was 70-something off 5 overs. So we thought we could be chasing 250, and that's tough on any ground then. So we dragged it back really well, actually, the bowlers. And then, went out and we knocked them off for 3 wickets.
How did you get on with the bat?
Did all right, mate. Very, very enjoyable. Me and Barrett opened the batting. And
what was the partnership?
It was 114.
So did you get the 14?
No. When he was out for 70, so there's a few extras. So I might have been about 30, 35 when he was out.
I love when I find out these stats about Jack and his partnerships because he's always in his big partnerships that go over 100. Turns out Jack scores between 5 and 6
Team
runs.
mate, when he's whacking at the end, I'm just going to go, we'll have one, then kill.
5 runs, Jack Luffman, other person, 98.
Yeah, anyway, it's a team game. So we put on 147 overs he was out, or he was first ball of the 8th over, I think he was out. So that was really good. And then, we did get it off in the last over, but again, comfortable 33 wickets down, so that was good. So
through to the final, which is when?
Thursday night
against?
I've got no idea, to be honest.
I love the confidence of whoever's there. We'll just
turn up. Whoever's in front of us will play our game.
Excellent. Right. Okay. So then also something happened on Friday night, which involved Ben getting lost. Lost his drink for a good 20 minutes. Because I was stone cold sober. It was quite entertaining watching him. Really puzzled, looking at tables, can't work out where he's put this drink, and it was literally 3 minutes before, he put it on my table and said to Charlie's Jen, I'm just going to put this there, can you keep an eye on it so I don't lose it? And then he proceeded to go to the bathroom, come back, and then check every table other than ours, then go back and double check every other table other than ours, and then just stand there like really angry with himself because he'd lost his drink.
That says it.
And then I went to Jen and went, just give me his drink. So she's like, your drink? He's like, oh, so glad I couldn't believe I thought I'd lost my drink.
But he's not a massive drinker, Ben. He's very small, so obviously it doesn't take a lot. He decided to drink white wine all night. I mean, what a decision that was. But I think it got a bit worse for him.
I've heard, but the less we say about that, probably the better.
But I think all in all, a very good night's had by all.
So we found out that you'd won an award.
Yeah,
so let's have a look.
At this. But first 11 batting trophy.
Yeah,
good there.
It's a very nice trophy. But then also, which I thought was a nice little touch. I know it came from the Sporting Jibberish side of it, but it's Jack's idea. Jack came up with this idea. I thought it was a nice little touch that every player that represented was presented like you would do at international level, a club cap.
Yeah, so that was like...
Are you going to doff your cap?
I'm going to doff my cap in a moment.
Okay.
In fact, I'll do it now, look. So I was 7th because we went from alphabetical order on the first game. So I'm cap number 7. Look at that. Squad number 19, but cap number 7.
To be fair, I understand the remit behind the cap. It's not a pretty cap. It's an ugly cap.
They are baggies. There's a cricket traditional bag. I'm going to wear it for the rest of the show, I think.
They're very similar to the England caps as well.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. So actually, what my idea was to sponsor it, I suppose, but it was something that when we spoke around developing, it was something we want to do because we want to try and create a legacy. So hopefully, the Dubai Wanderers in 20 years' time will be up to cap whatever it might be. So that's the idea.
Good news. Some talented players from just sitting there.
Yeah.
The thing that probably resonates the most was Ethan. He's only 15.
Yeah, he's only 15.
I heard that multiple times all night, and it sounds like the lad's got a promising career.
Definitely, he's a good player, and that's not to take anything away from Cavian, who was also there, and Aaron, who unfortunately, I think he was playing, but he's a very, very talented player. Like I said, I think I said on the night that. Just like you in football and on sport, you come across a lot of good youngsters in my time, but he's way ahead of anybody else. So I'm excited to see him grow, and it'd be nice to see.
So, are we having a word with the
Longy
up at, is it Vital?
Vitae Sports. It's
Vitae
funny you say
Sports.
that. I have had work because
we need to do what they did with Mascherano and Tevez. We need to get him signed to Sporting Jibberish first as part of his contract, and then we'll
sell him on. Yeah. So I spoke to Longy. Obviously, he's a bit young at the moment. I think schooling depends next year because he's in the Indian curriculum. He's got his last school year. Well, now actually, I think they've started, haven't they? Indian curriculum.
Yeah, they would have started January.
And then once that's done, it'll be a case of does he stay here? Does he go? And Damon and Vito have got a link with Scarborough College to do some scholarships. Does he go there and do it? Or I think Dad wants him because he's Indian, but he was born in the UAE, so he can represent the UAE. So I just think that he's got so much talent. I'd like to get him overseas, whether it's Australia or England, play a little bit more longer format cricket because I think that's where eventually he'll succeed.
Yeah.
And the danger of playing the stuff that we do here is that he might just get lost in the system because not because of ability, but because he's not going to be a massive hitter.
Yeah.
Although his strike rate still goes at over 100 easily, so we'll see. But he's got a great future, as has Cavian, and it was a great night. Thanks for coming. You presented the caps, and you were part of it. So and everybody had a good time.
And I think what I get from that is it seems like you've formed a club that's not just here for a 5-minute stop. It looks like there's going to be a bit of longevity behind it, and like we said on the evening, is that me and you both spoke about potential plans and how we can move things forward. So fingers crossed, we will be here next year, and the year after, and the year after that, and then even as we pass out, Dubai Wanderers will continue and become a bigger club to the club that we do not talk about.
Correct, the club that there shall not be named.
I can't believe they didn't get announced. I was itching to get all that mic and say something, but I left it alone.
Well, they've got the club that shall not be named.
Yeah, I was like, you should be toasting it. That's guaranteed 2 wins a season.
There's no way, Clint, we can wear these outside.
Yeah.
My goodness me. Good. Anyway, what about you? Big game last night.
Yes.
Tactical change.
Yes, so unfortunately one of the centre halves pulled out. Little and was taken to hospital. Thankfully, good news is he's back home. Okay, so I think that's the most important thing. Comes first and foremost. So I got the call just as I was leaving the house to say you're going to be dropping to centre half, and I'll be honest with you, yeah, I was a little bit relieved. I think to a point because I think that they playing up front as not as a natural striker is that some of the pressure starting to build in here. So quite enjoyed it. Probably had one of my better games I've had probably in the last. I'd probably say probably one of my strongest games I've had in a long time. And we played against a tough Irish team, Dubai Irish. It was a really good game. It was a good game in the fact that people hit people in tackles. Nobody complained. Nobody wins. There was no diving. Just an honest game of football. We went toe to toe, and Irish. I felt a bit sorry for their centre forward. And I felt like that's how I am sometimes. Just you get a little bit isolated. Yeah. Very good player, but when you get the ball dropped into you, and he's got two centre halves behind him, and we had a low block covering midfielder. He was kind of swamped all the time, and he just couldn't quite get the support around him. And I think if Irish maybe had gambled a little bit, one of the midfielders a bit further up, it could have been a different story. But 1-0 up at half time, then we're 2-0 up from a break, and then we got a penalty. Did not take it.
Oh, were you off them or did you volunteer?
No, I was at the back, and to be fair, Pooley was having a good game. He scored a good goal, so he picked the ball up. And I was like, yeah, crack on, kid. He put it in the bottom corner. Keeper went the right way, but he scored it. AFC Dubai were on the side, so AFC Dubai were training, which is never normally training on a Wednesday. Pitch next to us. Then decided to order pizza and have a few beers in the stand, thinking that if the game's a draw, they win the league.
Right.
So the centre back shouted something at me, when we got penalties. Like, "You're not taking it." So
I bet you replied, "No, sir, I'm not."
I said, "I'm not. I'm making sure we keep a clean sheet."
Yeah.
And then game carried on 3-0. They got one back, made it 3-1. I think they pushed a bit, but there was a lot of huff and puffing and just couldn't quite couldn't quite fall for them. And then we broke and made it 4-1. But like I say, it was a really good game, but it was interesting at the end. So our gaffer sees Neil, who's AFC Dubai. I don't think he's manager, but he's one of the players that's involved in the league. And Green did the old Kevin Keegan speech. "I'd love it if they beat you," just messing about with him. And he turned around and pointed at the Irish and went, "Them." He went, "They won't turn up." And I was a little bit like, "Well, I said common and a half." I'd say between the two teams, we played both teams. AFC Dubai have got a little bit more probably going forward. I think just that their midfield probably get a little bit higher up, but I wouldn't completely write the Irish off because there's an element of pride that goes with, especially at Vets football, is that you don't really want to turn up and lose a game. So it'll be interesting. I still put AFC Dubai as clear favourites. I can't see them dropping points, but if he thinks it's a little bit easier than what it actually is, that's the time that it will come back and bite.
Right, yeah. Where and when do they play? Next week?
No, I think I just had a message saying our game's off and we've got no game in Eid, so I think they'll probably play in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, so it'll be interesting, but it's a shame because I've got probably what'll happen is we'll probably play the same night they play.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to go and watch it, but look, that squad that the Irish have got could spring a surprise, but I'd still put AFC Dubai as favourites. But at the end of the day, we'll probably finish second in the league. I say that, but Safa, who've got left to play, pumped a team last night 10-1.
Oof.
So they've kind of found a bit of form, and they're heading into the realms of top 5, top 6. So I don't think it's completely done and dusted, but you know what? We'll finish the season. I think it'll be we just drew too many games, and I think I'll put it down to is that we just didn't score probably enough at the right time, and I hold my hand up for that. But you know what? I tell you, who did score a good goal last night. The new centre forward. His name's Shane. I think he was at Peterborough, but I've nicknamed him now Unicorn. So he turned up at training. Oh, and I'll tell you this story about Monday night training. Turned up at training on Monday night with a big bruise on his head. I was like, "What have you done?" I went, "Please tell me you didn't stick something in your head." He was like, "Yeah." He went, I was messing about with my little girl, and he stuck it in his head. I Like, you pretend to be a unicorn, mate. And he was like, yeah. He's still got the big rump. So he said on the first day it came up that bad, he had to put concealer on his forehead. So unicorn scored a goal from the halfway line.
Good effort.
Caught the keeper out. I'll tell you another one, just quickly. So Monday night I get to training. I'm itching to a bit of coaching. So I said to the gaffer, let me do a warm-up. I've got this really nice passing drill. So I get there. I've not even told you this story. And we've kind of not got enough players because some are helping the thirds out. So you've kind of just got like a few lads that are on the verge of becoming vets, and some of the friends have come down. I've got this drill going, and they're fighting through this drill, and I'm like, just stop there a second, lads. Just want you to, as you play that pass, do this, turn there, just get a bit of coaching points, crack on, and they're fighting through it. And there's a few lads there. There's Breezy, who's been voted the best ever player at All Stars, really good player. He was at Peterborough as well. Played for your dad at Boston, didn't he? Daniela's Dan.
Oh yeah.
So,
he played at Boston.
Shane obviously played at Peterborough as well, and there's a few other lads that have played at a really good level. And there's a lad there that I'm looking at. I'm looking at his face. I'm going, I recognise him from somewhere. I just can't think where. Anyway, Greenie rings me the day after. He's like, how do you think he did? I went, oh, he went, Dan. I went, yeah, he gave the ball simple. He looked decent, Yeah, all right. Why? He's like, you do know who that is, don't you? I was like, I've no idea.
Give me a clue. Come on.
Right. So I'll not tell you his surname.
Yeah.
But he played for Liverpool.
He played for Liverpool.
Played for Liverpool under Rafa Benitez.
Dan Agger?
No.
I
know Dan Agger is.
He's a tattooed man, isn't he?
He's a midfielder. He spent a fair bit of time after Liverpool at Newcastle. Spent a bit of time at Blackburn Rovers.
I can't think.
Danny Guthrie.
Oh, I know the name, yeah.
Yeah. And it was only afterwards I was like, so you're telling me a guy that played under Rafa Benitez, I'm telling him how to receive a ball on the turn and open up his body.
Shows how good Rafa was.
Yeah. Well, Rafa, next job, I'll get you got first team coaching. But yeah, so it's been an enjoyable week, and so I thought I'd don the All Stars colours.
Yeah,
nice. Sponsored by
Peach Express 1965.
Yeah, it means good brunches.
What a brunch that is.
It is a good brunch.
But stage brunch.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll next thing.
Shall we go?
Well, it'll be end of season do soon, so that's always good. But right, we'll move on to the pressing matters in life. So do you want to start with the news coming out of the ECB?
Yeah, so that's today. Yesterday, Thursday, announced that Stokes was going to be the new England Test captain.
Which I find very strange because of the issues he's potentially had. And I'm not saying that anybody that has had mental issues should be then given responsibilities, but in a precarious state of...
Yeah, there's one or two things. I think it was the obvious option. And by all accounts, he has captained England a couple of times before, people he clearly respected and all that. And there's just 2 or 3 points that I'll pick up on that one first. Yeah, bear in mind that it was a late decision for him to actually join the Ashes squad because it was taking a break from the game for mental health or for well-being, we should say. I think what shouldn't be lost there is that he'd also had a finger operation. So it was a bit of a combination. I think it was an opportunity for him to be rested. But that said, it's a big job he's taking on board. What I would say is I'm pretty sure Rob Key is pretty straight talking, and I'm also I don't think Stokes is also he's not shy of a big decision. So I think that if Stokes wasn't in the right place, he would have said no.
Yeah, are they going with him because he has that experience of leadership? Are they going with him because simply he's England's best back?
I think it's a combination. I think after Root, I think because the fact of the matter is, I always said before, if they didn't go for Stokes or potentially somebody like a Stuart Broad on a short-term thing, or an Anderson on a short-term thing, or a left-field choice within somebody who's fairly established like Bairstow, there is no option. You would have had to have brought somebody in to play and captain. And I think while it's been done before, more recently probably Graham Smith, who said Africa to very successful levels, it's not really something that happens nowadays. So I think there's a combination of both there. I think, like I say, I think he wouldn't have taken it if he didn't feel that he could manage that. I'm pleased here that Rob Key said we're going to have to manage his workload, because the fact of the matter is that I wouldn't say he's injury prone, but the way he plays the game, particularly when he's bowling in the field, he does pick up injuries and therefore does miss test matches, because it's not like a 50 over 20 over game where you can play with, I don't know, a slight niggle or something like that. 5 days, unless you are, and bowlers do play when they're not fit, but if you're anything less than 75-80%, you can't play. You can't have a test captain who misses a test match a series. It's as simple as that. So I'm pleased they're going to manage that. And the fact of the matter is as well, actually, if England's 2020 team, everybody's available, I'm not sure he gets it anyway, to be honest, at the minute. So that's probably a way out for that difficult decision at the moment. There's no doubt that I think whether he'll do a great job, whether he'll change fortunes, but he'll give it all he's got. Yeah. And I think people will go with him, both fans, players, pundits. And again, I don't think he's afraid of standing up to the pundits as well, which I think sometimes that within the British media, English media, it's a bit cosy sometimes. You see it a little bit with the football, don't you? It's now a bit, the more former players that are involved, the cozier it gets, and I don't think that's good for anybody.
No. So you need a relationship like Roy Keane?
Yeah.
Graham Souness?
Yeah, I think so. A lot where, and if a player can't accept that, accept that they've got to do a job. Keane plays on it, doesn't he? And football's slightly different to going to cricket, but I think there is a little bit. Nasser's very good, and Atherton, they've both called in recent times that root enough for a root. So, but I think likewise Stokes will stand up and say what it is. I don't think he'll necessarily toe the ECB line, but we'll see long term. We'll see. I'm pleased also that he said he wants Jimmy and Broad back in the reckoning, which we're not good enough not to pick our best players, whatever age they are, and whatever. We're not good enough to do that. So. All in all, it's not surprising, and as an England cricket fan, I hope he does the business. So
moving forward, when's his next, or when's his first game?
So the first Test match, I think, is the first week of June at home to New Zealand. So there's a bit of time. He's got to play. Yeah, definitely.
Williams, is it Williams' best batter?
Yeah, Williamson. Yeah, well up there, definitely.
Is it saying?
Kane. See, you're not bad. You're getting there
slowly. I tell you what, I did do well in your game where you had to do the hands.
Heads and tails.
Oh, I knew my stuff on them ones.
You need the stuff on the ones. There you go.
Yeah.
So we'll see. He's got to play some cricket. He's not played since West Indies yet, Stoke. So I expect that he'll play in the next round of county championships leading into it. So, I wouldn't say it's a running spine. I think it was the obvious choice probably. I just hope it works out. Both for him mentally, physically, and obviously performance-wise, because the last twice they've gone for the best player or the all-rounder, Flintoff, both of them, it didn't work.
No. Right, so what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on Stokes and see how he gets on.
Yeah.
But we'll cover the boxing team, so we should have covered it last day. What I was going to refer to last week was regards to, they were doing, where they go toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
And they were doing the press conference. And then they were about to do the face-to-face, and then Fury's backlog of people, his entourage, kicked off with thingies, Dillian White's entourage, and they were going toe-to-toe, and these two were stood there calming everybody else down.
And I didn't see that.
And they were like, just stop, just calm down, and White sorted his side out, and Fury sorted his side out, and then they basically got rid of them, and they were both like, alright.
I saw they swapped tats, didn't they?
Good luck. Yeah. But yeah, it was nice. But I think anybody who watched it, and I predicted beforehand, is that Fury's just hands down so much better than everybody else. And if White's his next contender, then he is so far ahead of everybody else in that weight class. It's untrue.
I don't think the problem is with the boxing and all, and White's clearly not the second best heavyweight in the world, is he? Beyond, there's many ahead of him.
He'd even go as far as Usyk.
I think him and Joshua and even Wilder are all way above. I think because of the different belts and mandatories and all that, I don't understand enough about that. But I didn't watch the fight. I saw the devastating.
He hit him with an uppercut and then gave him a little push afterwards. It was kind of like timber time, He just chopped the tree and just give it a little. And White's come out and tried to use that as an excuse.
Yeah, I saw that.
Listen, mate, you get pushed over, you get back up. You're just.
He was on his way.
You're out on your feet there. The way he's landed that dig on you.
But do you believe that it's Fury's last fight?
Well, Fury said that in his press conference is that he wanted to retire after the Wilder fight. the second one.
Yeah.
But then the opportunity came to fight at Wembley, which he said was too good of an opportunity to turn down. His wife's preggers again.
Oh, is she?
So I think that's another thing that kind of draws him away from it. I think the only thing that would potentially drag him back in is if we had the AJ fight at Wembley in front of 90,000. But Fury can't get AJ can't get himself together in order to fight. So I just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he probably means it to as much as boxers and sports people mean retirement nowadays. But I can't see it. If the situation arises where, and I think we've said before, it's got to happen fairly swiftly in terms of their ages as much as anything else.
It's going to happen the next 12 months.
If AJ's got to beat Usyk or whatever he's called in the rematch, and then I think that opens it up. I think he would fight that. Because I'm not a massive Fury fan. I've warmed to him a little bit over the troubles he's had, but I think what he has got is I do believe that he's got British boxing and boxing as a sport deep-rooted, and I think every sports fan would want to see that. Whichever side you're on would see that and end both careers at that point.
Yeah. Right, we'll
see.
We'll swiftly move on to the old fuzzball. We'll quickly run through the Premiership. We're not going to spend too much time because we've actually not really touched on football today, and yet we're like 26 minutes into the show.
Makes a change. It's because you get in the cricket book, mate. You're a badger. Cricket badger.
I'm not telling you about. I've just started playing a cricket computer game on the Xbox as well.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it keeps crashing.
I tell you what, we need to talk about at some point. We'll leave it till next week now. Your other little pastime that you're getting into.
I am class, by the way.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it before.
Yeah, but not as serious.
I tell you what I want to do is when you guys go, when you're back training the nets, I want to come down and I want to throw a few balls down at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come in and bowl a few at you, and I want a few bounces into ribs and just upset me a little bit. You know what? If I get him out, if I take them stubs, you're never going to. That's like you nutmegging me at football. And that's not going to happen.
We'll leave that till next week.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that next week. Right, okay, so we'll go from last week's football. First game of the day was Arsenal, who trounced United 3-1, which it was actually was it the midnight game?
No, midday game.
Midday.
You were sort of days on the pool.
Yes.
Last weekend they just merged into one whole place.
But yeah, according to the match reports, United actually didn't play too badly, but Arsenal were just clinical at the right times. And I think that then also has an impact on the game that they've drawn last night as well, is that they just lack firepower.
I saw a stat that Ronaldo scored 8 of United's last 9 league goals.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about United when we get to the Chelsea game in a second. Leicester 0, Aston Villa 0, pretty much two teams just playing for absolutely nothing. City then had the opportunity to go 4 points to Liverpool, and they did so with a trouncing of Watford 5-1. Newcastle then went to Norwich and won 3-0, probably signing sealing their fate.
And up to 9th now. So us saying they were...
you saying
me saying that I thought they were prepared for life down there, and how good a point was Eddie Howe, then our man's up.
It's going to be an interesting summer for them.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to attract top players still, though.
No.
I really don't, but we'll see.
And then the game that pretty much dashed your hopes of top 4 spot was drawing 0-0 at Brentford.
Yeah.
In a game you could have easily lost.
Oh, definitely. The last 2 games, I mean, it was slightly better than the week before, and that said, we almost snatched it at the end with Kane's overhead. But just poor, I said to Ronaldo, I think there will be some more twists and turns yet, but we've given our value. Because now, since momentum, we had the momentum, we've now not got it, and Arsenal have got it. And like you just said, they've gone from not being able to score to being clinical, and we're the opposite. The problem we've got, I've said it all season, is that if you stop, if they manage to stop Kane and Son, then we're not good enough to get the ball in other areas. And
you say that
Emerson Royale.
I think people will say that about Liverpool. You managed to stop Salah and Mane, but you can't stop them because it's just a wave after wave. You just don't seem to be getting high enough up the pitch to then apply that pressure.
Because I was about to say, because actually we've playing Conte's way, 2 wing backs and then 2 midfield players. The difference being your full backs get on to create our 2 wing backs like Saturday Royale and Sessegnon were absolutely dogged there, not pushing forward. we know what Højbjerg does. Bentancur is a little bit more creative, but I still think he's more of a holding player rather than somebody like, I don't know, like an Ericsson for one, who plays in the middle of midfield a bit further forward.
Still take him, wouldn't you?
100% I'd take him, yeah. So the drive, it was just nothing. That's the difference between. I mean, that's the difference because there's 20 points difference in the league. So
we've got better players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
I'm manager.
Disappointing.
Fan fans.
You Spurs. Johnny, come on, have a word with him. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I live in hope that we can put another run of games together, and we'll see. But like I said before, people are saying, if you don't do this, don't do that. Champions League football is not necessarily linked to Conte staying or going.
No. And then Sunday saw Brighton 2, Southampton 2. Brighton found themselves 2-0 up.
Yeah.
Took to a lead there.
My man WordPress, I've got him my fancy team.
Oh, great result. Shame you didn't have them.
I did have him the week
You
before.
did have him. Was that the one you lost at Larkin on?
Yeah, I just didn't have anybody else.
Oh no. Burnley, what is going on? Is it a masterstroke? Is the question. I did say this to the Burnley fan, I think I mentioned it on the podcast, was I just couldn't understand the timing, and my words to him were, is it a potential to see if they can get a reaction, a last chance reaction out of the players, and they're getting one.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. I don't know, I can't remember if it was listening to TalkSport or I read somewhere, I can't remember, that they were saying, has something gone on with Dyche and the ball or Dyche and the players that it's just gone, we've got to go. And they've just decided to keep it in-house.
Right, so
but I don't know.
They're saying tactically now, they've been told the Burnley players to take an extra touch, to not panic, to take a touch, and almost play with a little bit more freedom. And you make you wonder, because that goal they scored against Wolves was a nice, intricate goal. So are they, somebody said about letting the dog off on a leash, which was the worst type of comment I've ever heard. But it's just almost like they've just said to the back four, just get the ball down. Don't just think whacking it forward, let's play. Yeah. And then it'll be a little bit more intricate as they get higher up the pitch. Because Wakehorst is going to be a handful.
Yeah, I mean, he's not overly good, but he's a handful.
Yeah. And if he just creates a few little problems at the back for somebody, and like I saw, was it Vidri that scored the goal?
Yeah.
Nice little finish.
See, actually, one thing I don't understand why he doesn't play a bit more. I haven't played a bit more because Vidri's actually fairly good. He's a finisher, and obviously plays international football quite a lot. So,
I reckon McNeil was good in that game as well.
Yeah, I think he's got some ability, but just.
I think he's had an awful season
in
comparison to where he should have been.
But his final bit is awful, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're saying the last couple of games he stepped up. So
watch this could be a masterstroke.
Well, it could be because we'll just talk about another result in a second. But Chelsea beat West Ham, which signifies them secured third place. I know they probably mathematically can still be caught, but I think they may need 6 more points out of the last few games.
Yeah, I know, it's because Spurs and Arsenal, either of them, whoever finishes fourth, ain't going to win the
next 5. I think you're 8 points behind them.
Yeah.
So you've got to make.
We've got to win.
And they've got a game in hand, I think.
Yeah, it might have been from last night.
Yeah. So you've got 8 points
third,
to catch them.
Over what did we say 3 weeks ago? They're in different form. If the Spurs and Man United or Arsenal went and won the last 8 games, then but not going to happen now.
So then it came to Anfield, where Burnley would have been secretly disappointed, fully disappointed Liverpool. In the first half, which was a bit of a strange game, where Everton came with the game plan, and you know what? If anything, I'm quite glad Everton did that because it almost teed us up nicely for the Champions League game because Villarreal did the same thing. And first half, the only thing I just don't like is they're throwing themselves on the floor, time wasting, and Richarlison does that through and through, and it's just a little bit. And did you see Pickford when the ball came to his hand? Catches it and throws himself forward. Well, Liverpool eventually brought them down second half, scored second. Alisson gets the ball in the 89th minute, catches it, and throws himself down.
But to be fair to both of them, I thought it was funny because Pickford did it with it.
But he was doing that smiling to people, wasn't he? And then when Alisson did it back, and didn't even like. The facial expression was just like.
But I did see him at the end when they shook hands. They had a laugh about it, which is that's good to see that.
But yeah, I think Liverpool deserved to. But there's a contentious issue, and I think you listen to all pundits, and nobody can decide whether they think that the Matip closing down Gordon is a penalty or not. I think Gordon hasn't done himself any favours the first half with throwing himself about the place too much. So there's an element of that. Me, being a defender, thought that Gordon collapsed his legs as Matip comes near. Yeah. Matip's gone into, I think, goes shoulder to shoulder. Gordon's got slightly ahead of him. I think if Gordon had just taken a couple more steps, and Matip naturally would have potentially brought him down, and I just think Gordon's just kind of thrown himself and collapsed his legs, and I think the referee's seen that.
Yeah,
VAR's not even looked at it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the game. I was out. I obviously read about that, so I watched it back and I've seen it. And I think it might have even been Carragher. It's a Stonewall penalty, blah blah. When I first saw it, I was like, I didn't think it was a penalty. I'll be honest. I didn't think it was a penalty. I just thought it was a bit of a coming together. It was a bit clumsy, but was it a penalty? When you see it again, it's when he extends his arm. I think that is when you could go, it's a penalty. But there's two things I'd say about that. One, how on earth VAR hasn't asked the referee to go and look at it is beyond me. And secondly, we've seen penalties given for a hell of a lot less than that this season.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not saying that's the right one thing because that's the joy of football that decisions don't always go for you or go against you. But VAR is meant to alleviate that, and it never does.
And I think the issue at that point for Everton fans is that would have put them 1-0 up.
Yeah, Liverpool get it at the other end, by the way.
Pardon?
If Liverpool get that, if that's in Liverpool get that penalty.
Well,
as any of the home side.
The correct result was at the end of the day, Liverpool deserved to win the game 2-0.
And Everton are in dire straits.
And Everton, exactly that. And as I've mentioned probably every week since the appointment of Frank Lampard, bad decision. And then Monday night saw Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0. Nobody would have watched that because, again, two teams not really playing for anything. Leeds probably just need to keep picking up the odd point.
I would like Everton and Burnley to come on and relegate Leeds. I just don't like us.
Just don't like that team. And then United drew 1-1 with Chelsea, and a game of missed chances from Chelsea. With all the attacking potential Chelsea have, they just can't score a goal. And Ronaldo has one shot on target, one goal, 1-1. Alonso's volley, from what I heard, is an absolute belter.
He's decent, isn't he? Just bizarre with... Obviously, Chelsea's form has dipped and coinciding with we've mentioned for the Lukaku injury and him not coming back or whatever. And he's clearly not... Even when he's played a little bit more recently, he's been, pretty ordinary, hasn't he? Let's be honest. It's bizarre. It wouldn't surprise me if he leaves in the summer, you know. The only problem is that they can't buy, can they? Or spend any money. So if he just slap in a transfer request or somebody comes knocking from elsewhere in the Premiership, like a Newcastle, because he's got no loyalty, Newcastle come, offer, I don't know, what would they need for him? 70 million? I don't know.
If you look at
50 million?
I think they'd be looking a bit more than that. They'd try and recoup some money on him, wouldn't they?
But would they be able to, because they've got all this money. So I don't know. Anyway, Chelsea have got a tricky summer ahead, haven't they?
I think it's not just a summer. I think that they could easily now, with a potential new owner, not have the money that Ron was going to chuck into the club. They could have had their height now.
Yeah.
And we could see Newcastle become almost like the new Chelsea, and then Chelsea, although they'll keep their money going along and doing well,
because
I think they'll struggle to continue to move forward. And then you're talking 12 months' time, they're not guaranteed Champions League spot.
Nah, definitely
especially
not.
if they can't invest in that
because
squad.
If I understand it correctly, then basically Rudiger's going. If I understand it correctly, at this moment in time, they're not going to be able to sign it. They're not going to be able to do any business.
So they've got an embargo on it, so they can't do anything.
If that continues over the summer, and on top of that, some offers come in for players and they want to leave because of what you just said, or more first team football, or they don't like the manager, whatever it is. Rocky, Ash, you'll be listening to this. He's a Chelsea fan. Rocky road ahead, I think.
I tell you what I was going to say though is Chelsea in the last 2 seasons have let go some good young centre backs. Rudiger's on his way out. They can't replace him by. Would they not want Zuma back? And the lad at Crystal Palace had just got his England cap.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
He's
Mitchell. He's a left back. The other.
I don't know his name. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he was a Chelsea.
Because I didn't realise he was English until he got picked for England.
Yeah, he's a Chelsea youth player.
Conor Gallagher, obviously not defender, but midfielder.
But he'll come back because he's on loan, but they got rid of them other two.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It could be, I say Rocky Road, it could be that actually we've talked about all these players that they've sent out on loan or come back, it could well be the making of them. Yeah. Because they might be forced to play them.
I just think they'd just be short of defenders. I don't think there'd be any problems with midfielders.
Yeah.
But we'll quickly cover Champions League because that was the first leg of every semi-final. City 4,
Opponent's
Real Madrid
absolute
3.
belter.
Well, I think I was speaking to, we've got a City fan and new guy, Pooley, ex-United player. He's a City fan. So I was having a chat with him. He's actually from around where City Main Road, Platt Lane. So we were talking about Moss Side last night, and I was like, so I took a wrong turn. I was doing my coaching badge at Platt Lane, and I took a wrong turn and ended up in Moss Side. He was like, "You got out alive?" I was like, "Yeah." I took 3 steps in and ran 17 back. But yeah, he's a big City fan, and he's like, "Yeah, great result for us, but we should have been 5-0. The game could have finished 8-3."
Yeah.
And from the reports I've seen, I've not actually watched any of it, but City should have been 4 up before Real Madrid got one back.
I think so.
But the only thing I will say is that at 4-2, Real Madrid get that penalty, and talk about having big brass
Hoolers.
yeah, to do a Panenka to keep your team in the time, because 2-0 lead back at Real Madrid is a hard lead against a team like City, and to risk that 2-0 lead and bring it back to 1. I tell you what, that tie. I don't know, as a Liverpool fan, I don't know who I'd rather play. I think I'd rather play Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think you've got to rather play Real Madrid, because I don't think it was good.
I just think we'll probably have legs in the middle on them.
Yeah, it just shows what form Benzema's in and confidence he's got.
Form of his life.
Yeah, 100%. I was talking to him.
He missed a penalty as well, the other week.
Yeah, Ronaldo. I was talking to Ronaldo again about it, and he was saying, he's the form of his life, because he probably had the shackles off from not having any other superstars around a little bit. He's definitely at that, where he's going to have a stellar 18 months or something.
And then Liverpool beat Villarreal 2-0.
Did you watch it last night?
I watched it, yeah. It was 2 nights ago.
Was it?
Last night was football.
Yeah.
Got up, set my alarm, got up and watched it. They played pretty much like Everton did. Like sat deep, defending well. They played really well, but Liverpool just seemed to have that. There was no rushing. It was almost like, it'll come. Mane missed a header in the first half. I thought he should have bet with. Was slightly behind him, but I still expected him to hit the target from about 7 yards out. And eventually we plugged away, found it. Element of luck. Henderson's gone to whip across it. It's hit the defender. It's then gone to loop over the keeper. He's tried to claw it, and he's ended up palming it into his own net. And then 2 minutes later, Salah's got on a bit of a run, played in Mane. Mane's put it away, put us 2-0 up. Tie advantage Liverpool, and as much as they'll have to come out and try and score, I just think that we'll just have to fight.
I'm hoping it's an All England final.
Paris. They get Paris.
Could go.
So we'll see that. But right, fancy football.
Go on.
So weekly winner, none other than the one and only Keggins Cavani.
Tom Keggin, a Man United fan, winning something. Wow.
Yeah, well, they're going to win something at some point, haven't they? So
Kegs.
he's managed to get
Good effort,
90 points. But more importantly,
did you get through in the cup?
yes, I got through in the cup. I beat Toby Young and Havertz Rent-A-Car. And guess what I've got in the next round?
Larkin.
This week's winner, Keggins Cavani. So, interesting. Last 16 we're in now, Jack Boy. Last 16.
Yeah,
This is where it's all going to get a little bit interesting. So let's see if there's any other big name teams that have made it through. At the moment, Jacko's on fire.
Yeah,
the guy's smashing it. Do you know any of them top 2? Wild Ones against Honourable Gentlemen. Sack of Potatoes against Jason Smith. No, both them guys there. Danny McShane will play Lisa Bateman. She's doing alright as well. Crackers.
Shrek.
I'm just careful of reading some names out because we've seen some ropey names on here. Shrek has made it through and will be playing Cobby from the All Stars. Stu Burwood from Ruddy Red will be playing Simsy, the old Wolverhampton fan. Matt Bean is playing Jacko.
He went last night to Man United, he was whinging.
What was it? Ronell, who's mentioned quite a few times, he's playing Daniel McShane.
I know, it was last game, he's out.
Alright, that's it, he's out. Alright, so there it is. Our last 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ties to go. And then we're into the
quarters, there we go.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. But anyway, what have you got planned for the rest of the weekend, Jay? Anything exciting?
A little bit of golf tomorrow with the WSO Society boys.
Is it to play for the Big W?
Big W tomorrow. And then we've got a little outing, haven't we, on Sunday?
CC.
The Culture Club back in town. So there'll be plenty of sporting gibberish spoken that afternoon, won't there, Stu? But end of the day,
what do we know?